Hello, weirdos! Anyway, hey everybody, Riot, how are you doing? Happy New Year, happy new tax year. I don't know how I'm going to pay my taxes this year, do you? I don't know. But a new year. New year? New year. I'm not going to cut that out. That should be witness that I can never talk properly. Regardless, what I'm saying is, new year means a new terriblefest. Come here. I'm just hanging out in the eyesore basement, as I often do, and talking to you about what to expect for Terriblefest 7. That's at the end of March this year. So, just a little over 2 months away. Crazy. It's also going to be crazy because it's one of the times I chose the most movies. I chose 10 movies, 10 features for this. So for the next couple of videos, I'll be talking about them. And then within that, talking about the endless amount of shorts. I have about 5 shorts that are of any substance, and I mean as in length of time. But then I have about over a dozen amazing micro shorts. I love those that are only like 2 minutes, maybe even 1 minute. It's just 1-2 punch, laugh, freak out, wah, whatever. We'll get into that as videos go by. But right now I'm going to talk about 3 of the features that are appearing at Terriblefest this year, 2024. What? I'm sure I'm going to have printed and said and typed that wrong several times over the last week. Probably saying 2023 a million times when it should be 2024. I never get that right in the first month. Do you? Anyway, number 1 is a movie called Flesh Games. Now, I have to talk about this because it was an interesting way to choose this. As some of you might remember, last year when we first started using Film Freeway for the first time, it was sort of an experiment. It was to see how that works and to find out that all of the major film festivals use that, somehow make money off that, and how their sort of, I don't know, sketchy ways work. So my friend Bob and I did an audio podcast for about 6 or 7 episodes about how we browsed through it, what we got as expectations from it, and how people reacted. And we'll be talking about that again in these videos too. And that comes into play with Flesh Games a lot for me because it was sent in to me through Film Freeway. I watched a little bit of it and the trailer, and then I moved away. And I believe that people who work with large film festivals probably do that a lot. I know myself that I had a film that I was involved in. I've never sent in the films I've directed into film festivals, but what film I was in was sent to a film festival. Someone saw the first 2 minutes and thought it was about zombies, and they didn't want any more zombie films because they're overdone with it, so they said no. But they told us that, and it was hilarious because zombies are not in the movie outside of a scene in the opening 2 minutes where someone is dreaming that because they fell asleep watching TV. So, I don't know, it's a trap that people can get stuck into. Flesh Games basically is a homage to, let's just say, White Trash Rebellion. It's an homage to the jackass culture of the late 90s, early 2000s. A lot of guys who are my age and a little bit younger are in that sort of world. That enjoyment of, like, you know, the internet was happening, but we were resentful of it because when we were just a little bit younger, we were constantly getting out in trouble, and the skateboard days and, you know, extreme sports and things like that. But a lot of us were now too fat, and half of us were dads, and but we still wanted to kind of do that. So the backyard wrestling mentality was in there, all that sort of thing. And that's what Flesh Games is about, a bunch of guys basically making stunt videos. And I put it to a side because I was like, well, that doesn't really fit. But then, thanks to a fellow video blogger on the YouTubes, Scott of Strange Tapes, he interviewed the director and talked about it and was really, really hyped about it, and kind of compared it to what if a Jackass universe had a movie in the Creep franchise. So I gave it another try. And what makes the Flesh Games stand out is that it is controversially negative, but it is a scripted, well, scripted may be a big word, I'm not sure, but a fictional film. And it does have a hidden but underlining plot into it, which will make you feel icky. And I figured that's what fit for Terrible Fest. I also felt bad because past alumni of Terrible Fest, Addison Binnick, the maker of Psycho Ape, you'll remember that film. Psycho Ape 2 is coming soon, so stay tuned, everybody. Won't be at Terrible Fest this year, but it will be coming out very soon. Anyway, Addison sent in a film that was basically a memory journal of when his friends growing up tried to be those kids that were told don't do this at home. So he made a video about that. And it's a straightforward video. It is, however, very heartfelt, and it is very touching for people who were from that time, realizing that it's not a negative thing to be a jackass, basically. However, I said no to it because I felt it didn't fit in with Terrible Fest. Though I do support the film, and I do think people should check it out. With that being said, that's also why I first said no to Flesh Games. So saying yes to Flesh Games now makes me feel a little bad, as if I'm poo-pooing Addison's film, but I am not. Maybe someday down the road, here at Iso Cinema or some other event or something, maybe we'll try to do a double bill of the two films together, and you can kind of like, I don't know, see how they are not the same. It's not to say that Flesh Games is the better film per se, it's just a film that fit Terrible Fest more, and we're really glad to have it, and I think it will have a standout reaction to our regulars, and for newcomers, first-timers to Terrible Fest, it's just going to weird them out, and I enjoy that. Second film on here is The Wizard of Oz. What? By a artist called Wigwolf. Now this actually connects back to Addison too, because Addison was getting all of these messages sent to him as a mysterious blogger had written a positive Wigwolf and semi-negative Addison Binnick message. It just seemed like it was, what's the word for that? Super cynical, but also it was being angry on the down low. There's a word for that, and I just can't think of it right now. But either way, the reason that we are choosing Wigwolf's film is Wigwolf is a counterculture artist that makes weird things. I do like the fact that Wigwolf makes things extremely weird, seeming like it's high art. There's visualizations and symbolism and purposeful homemade put into actually like artistic views mixed together. But normally, those things, if that was the theme of any movie, I would find it pretentious and annoying. Not to say that everyone else would, I just do. Terrible Fest isn't necessarily about art per se, because that's why it's called Terrible Fest. There is an underlining thing to Wigwolf stuff where he almost wants to laugh if you do find symbolism in it, because I don't think half the time it is. And right as I say these words, Wigwolf's probably typing, "Yes it is, I'm an artist," just to be combative. But this is why I'm giving this one a shot, because I think people are going to talk about it. And some are going to have negative, some are going to have great responses to it. And wonderfully, unlike what you can see on Tubi, a movie called Wet Ones that Wigwolf made, which is like 7 million hours long. His Wizard of Oz film is only an hour long. So, finding films like that gave me the decision to push the limit up to 10 films for Terrible Fest. So, Wigwolf is one of the reasons why we're having this many movies. So, like them or not, find them an artist or not, that's the game. We want people to have a more interactive process with some of the films that they watch for the first time at Terrible Fest every year, let alone this year. And it will be in the future too. So, the third movie we're going to talk about is also only an hour long. Great. Because a lot of us have intense ADHD here at Terrible Fest. Well, okay, mainly me, but I'm sure a lot of the regulars do as well. Otherwise, I don't know how you'd understand all this. But, other than it being an hour long, it is an animated piece that really says a lot about today's trends in animation, computer graphics, and talent, per se. It's called Teenage Warhead. The film is very strange. It is made in basically pic art. It's one of those you'll find on Tubi and the internet and all over the place. You'll find these short animated films, and even in the late VHS era, usually they were religious or some sort of propaganda group that put money together to make this and got like the crappiest animator they could that could at least get a feature done, and they try to like pander it to kids. It feels like this is what Teenage Warhead is doing. You'd have to watching it more than once. I don't know how I did that, but I have watched it more than once, more than twice in fact. And it's not doing either of those things. You're waiting at one moment for all of a sudden, with post-2020 syndrome, it to be some sort of anti-vax thing. And then you're waiting for it to be religious. And it doesn't seem to be either. Is it also self-aware that it is playing off those imagery? I don't know either, because it does definitely make jokes. And there are jokes that are particularly funny.
What happened to that girl Mandy? Didn't you go on a date with her last week? She seemed really nice.
Yes. But I was so nervous that I had explosive diarrhea. It wouldn't have been a problem if I had actually made it to the restroom in time.
It is very silted animation, a lot of it probably used with pre-rendered stuff, and a mystery that I have not asked the director yet. And if you're watching this now, feel free to answer to me. But it feels like there are no actual voice actors, that everything is AI. That they're all just pre-coded voices and they've typed in the words that it should say. Because everyone's reading really stiltedly. It seems like they're all computers. Which is a statement about today's world. However, if you're just making something by yourself, and these are things that the program gave you, that's hilarious. I have my issues with AI, especially stealing from artists that it grabs images from, and then you try to charge money for it. However, Teenage Warhead is already available on YouTube for free. They made the feature and they basically gave it away, and then sent it out to festivals. So I have already shown this to a few people when I shared it on the Private Ride at the Movies Facebook group, which anyone can join. Just got to answer the questions, and I got to know you're not a creep. But anyway, so yeah, it's already shocked a few people. So it's giving me this idea. Out of those, remember when I was talking about those micro shorts, all those many short films I have? A lot of them are animated. And I was also thinking, how am I going to fit in 3 days, a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? How am I going to fit in all these films? I'm going to do a very early Saturday part. We're going to call it Saturday Morning Cartoons. It's not going to be your mama's cartoons. It's going to be weird-ass things that fit terriblefest from the underground. I don't know if I'll start with the shorts first, because I can probably mix together about a dozen shorts, and it'll only go up to 30 minutes, because they're all super short animated pieces. Some are claymation, some are CGI, some are literally hand-drawn, and some are a mix of multimedia. And I think you'll be impressed by all of them. And then I'll mix in Teenage Warhead with that at the same time. So it'll only be like an hour and a half, hour and 35 minutes, and you've got a whole block of shorts plus that 1 hour feature. And that involves you getting down to Eyesore a little earlier than usual, probably before they would normally open. So, here's another thing. And I haven't asked all of the artists about this yet, so we'll see how this goes, including the Teenage Warhead director. So, this is me asking now, and I will send you an email in a second if you're watching this. I'd like to stream this. I'd like to stream that part so that those who aren't used to getting up that early, or people around the world who watch these videos, people who have joined us since post-COVID when terriblefest got some international noise, they can see it. They can watch them along together and talk about them. And if a lot of the shorts directors are in different countries, they can jump online and chat along with people too, and either defend themselves or answer questions, whichever may be. So, those are the three I've talked about so far. We've talked about Wolf's Wizard of Oz, we've talked about Teenage Warhead, and we've talked about Flesh Games. That is only 3 of the 10 films, 10 features, plus almost 20 short films that'll be playing at terriblefest at the end of March. Less than 3 months away. Tickets will be available soon because we have the crazy thing called inflation. We've gone up to $3 a film, but the animation bit, the in-store, will only be $1. Only $1 for that. Patreon members will get $1 off every ticket. There will be bulk passes for it, and a lot of people will be winning passes beforehand too. So I don't make a lot of money off this. In fact, I make no money off this. In fact, I go into the negative every time I've done this. When we talked at the beginning of this video about learning what Film Freeway does, a lot of people charge a lot of money for these things and they don't get back to them. It's been a crazy week for me because of the fact that I have been bombarded with the 3,000 plus entries that happen, because 80% of the time my submissions are totally free. And then when they're not, 10% of that time was only $1.25, and then the last month and a half it was about $2 with a gap day here and there to go for free. Basically to slow things down so I could catch up and I could at least watch all of them. I want to thank Jason, who watched a couple films for me near the tail end of things that I had already watched, but I wanted a second opinion before cutting things down, because I had a short list of 20 films out of there. But we somehow made it fit into 10, and we're not sure how we're going to make all that work. Pretty sure, not totally sure. I've bitten off a little more than I can chew. A lot of it is because sometimes, especially if they were on the border and they had paid the $2, I'm like, it's worth it. They tried. They really want this. I shouldn't have to worry about that because, again, 75% of that goes to Film Freeway and PayPal, so I make 10 cents off them, if that. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not. Out of 3,000 submissions, the amount that I do for free or do for so cheap, there is less than $100 made off the Film Freeway page. I know a lot of other film places that don't do as much work have done a lot worse, and a lot worse things, and made a lot more money. And all that money went back into Eyesore Cinema so that we can afford to do this. So it's already gone. So we'll see what happens. And we hope we'll see you there, and we'll see you back here to learn about the next 7 films. Okay, I love you. Bye-bye.
We love Audio Video Plus.
Oh yeah, and on the 16th of this month, so again, I don't know when you're seeing this, but January 16th, Tuesday, we're doing an Eyesore Cinema one-day event, which is a bunch of pre-show stuff for Terrible Fest and some flashbacks from the past. Come check it out.
That I had explosive diarrhea.